Yes, tonight, WCCO has learned of a significant development in the investigation into the death of Minnesota's own superstar, Prince.
Sources tell WCCO that 21 months after Prince's death from a fentanyl overdose, it is unlikely anyone will be charged for murder for providing the drug that killed him. While criminal charges are possible, they will likely be relatively minor unless new witnesses come forward. Prince's cousin is now going public with his effort to find new information. Here's Esme Murphy.
WCCO News has learned that while federal and state investigations into Prince's death are moving forward, a major obstacle remains when it comes to charging anyone with murder or manslaughter in the superstar's death. Sources tell WCCO that while investigators still don't know who obtained the fentanyl that killed Prince, they believe the drug was obtained via the black market in China. Fentanyl is commonly described as 50 times more powerful than heroin. While the official autopsy says the overdose was accidental, Chaz Smith, Prince's cousin and former bandmate, has questions.
My goal is to find out exactly who provided the fentanyl. I started getting information from former band members that were reaching out to me that were afraid.
Smith, shown here wrestling with a younger Prince in the striped shirt and in other early family pictures from the early 1960s, wants answers. He has created Justice for Cuz sites on both Twitter and Facebook. For the past year, Smith has been forwarding tips he has received to law enforcement. Smith says he is grateful to investigators, especially those from Carver County. His frustration is directed at those who were with Prince in the final week of his life.
You weren't taking care of business. Not at all. You weren't watching out for him. There was negligence involved, to me, completely, without saying somebody really purposely did anything.
Search warrants released last year focused on the role of Kirk Johnson, Prince's head of security. Johnson was among those who discovered Prince dead in a Paisley Park elevator. A search warrant for Johnson's cell phone details that 6 days before Prince's death, Johnson was with Prince on a plane coming back from an Atlanta concert when the plane was diverted to Moline, Illinois, after the singer overdosed on opioids. Prince was treated at a Moline hospital and flew back to the Twin Cities. After the singer's death, investigators found opioids throughout Paisley Park, but none in Prince's own name. 2 of the bottles with opioids had Johnson's name on them. In a March 2017 interview with CBS This Morning, Johnson would not answer CBS correspondent Jamie Yuka's questions.
Is there anything that you wish you had done personally to stop his drug use?
Oh, my goodness. Next.
You don't feel like people enabled him?
Next.
Opioid addiction is such a big topic of conversation.
While the 2 bottles found at Paisley Park bearing Johnson's name did contain opioids, neither contained fentanyl. This past week, Johnson's attorney told us, "My client had nothing to do with the fentanyl having to do with Prince's death." Another search warrant in the case says Chaska physician Dr. Michael Schulenberg admitted in a statement to a detective that he had prescribed an opioid for Prince, but put it in Kirk Johnson's name for Prince's privacy. An attorney for Dr. Schulenberg, who continues to practice medicine in the Twin Cities, says that is not true, that Schulenberg never prescribed medications intended for Prince in anyone else's name. One of the search warrants says it was reasonable for law enforcement to believe that Kirk Johnson, quote, would have had knowledge of Prince's abuse of prescription narcotic medication. In addition to Kirk Johnson and Dr. Schulenberg, court documents released last year say investigators are also looking into the role of celebrity addiction physician Dr. Howard Kornfeld and his son Andrew, who was not a physician but had prescription overdose medication with him at the scene when Prince was found dead. An attorney for Andrew Kornfeld said in 2016 his client was protected by Minnesota's SHIELD law, which protects those who call 911 when someone has overdosed. Chaz Smith has a message for anyone who knows someone who is struggling.
And to know if you know somebody that's in a situation like that, I don't care if they're famous or not, say something.
Criminal defense attorney Joe Tamburino is not connected with the case. He reviewed the court documents at our request. He says all of those who were the focus of those original search warrants could face possible but relatively minor charges.
It would be low level, correct, because Prince did not die from those drugs.
Both the Carver County Sheriff's Department and the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment, both saying the investigation into Prince's death remains ongoing. In Chanhassen, Esme Murphy, WCCO 4 News.
The Carver County Sheriff is asking anyone with information about Prince's death to please call their tip line. That number is 952-361-1224.